Hello and welcome to the HPTVPodcast starring Stephen Flitwick, Quirinus Jaime, and Mitch Binns. I almost rhymed my name with a bad word, which I did when I was a child, and I felt quite guilty. The HPTV podcast is where we talk about all things Harry Potter on HBO and the broader wizarding universe. Today, we're going to talk about some news tidbits. There's not really much. Let's not lie. We're going to go through some of the lesser known professors as we've been doing deep dives on people, places, and things throughout the universe. So first of all, how are you guys? Has there been any Harry Potter in your lives recently that I don't know about?
No, still reading book
wish
4.
there were more.
I did
Jamie,
see...
you skipped book club last week.
Well, okay. I just didn't plan for it. We just haven't got much further, and then I didn't feel like doing anything last week.
Is Amelie losing interest?
No, it's just the chapters are getting kind of long, and it's getting more intense, I think. But we've just been really busy with the end of school and everything, but now we're in summer mode. But I did see like the HBO ad that comes up to subscribe
The
to HBO
sizzle,
matches.
the annual sizzle.
And it was cute to see Harry Potter cut in there. That was exciting, but nothing else.
I heard
really.
it's leaving HBO Max there and jumping. Like, does it just jump to Peacock for summer? Is that kind of when they've been trading it off? Because I feel like they're going to want it back before fall. The movies, sorry.
Yeah, it's like every 6 months they switch back and forth. I don't know where it even is right now because Mitchell's banned us from watching it. Just kidding. I will watch 4 soon.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm actively doing everything I can to not watch them. In other news and notes, there's not really much going on. We did hear from Gary Oldman, who's quite positive on the series. And you kind of brought up the point, why did we not talk about Gary Oldman as Dumbledore, or did we, and we don't remember? He would have been perfect. He looks really old now.
I don't know that we talked about him for Dumbledore, but I think it would have been cool. I mean, obviously that ship has sailed, but he's, it'd be cool kind of as a legacy character. He could look very different, especially after studying about Flitwick this week. I mean, you could make the same actor look very, very different. So, but maybe he can take over when Lithgow dies.
It's crazy to think he could play Dumbledore because I know it's 20 years ago, but he was playing Sirius, who he was probably almost 20 years too old to play Sirius. Like Sirius is still supposed to be quite young. I guess 30s, but still. This is what he said
very young.
In the interview. Hey, I'm there too. He said, I've seen the trailer for it. I think it's a great idea. They're doing the whole book, which I love because there were a lot of wonderful things, fabric and character detail we had to lose for the sake of telling the story in 2 hours. He was asked if he would participate, and he said, I don't think they want any of us from the movies contaminating or muddying the waters. Besides, I'm too old. We know that's not true because Flitwick is still Flitwick, but
Flitwick it's funny is supposed to look old, but also he could play an older character. So I mean,
he could play a different. It'd be funny, I think, if later in the series they had someone make a cameo as like someone from the Ministry or this or that that's passing through. That would be okay with me as a bit of a nod.
I'm sitting in a cafe in the background or something. Like, I think those kinds of things would be fun little nuggets. Not to, like you said, contaminate it too much, but I think it'd be cool little throwbacks.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah, you do.
Implausibly, Harry Potter adjacent news today, they broke ground for and officially named the Universal United Kingdom Resort. That is the official name. And we had heard that they were trying to negotiate for some Harry Potter rights. So we may or may not get more Harry Potter amusement park vibes here, but that theme park is happening, which is delightful. If I still live in this country, I will go visit it.
Are they doing Lord of the Rings there?
That's the rumor. Lord of the Rings,
that would be
Paddington, cool. James Bond, definitely Jurassic and Minions. Those are all kind of being, which I hope they do a few of those things that are not in any. That's one thing. If they're going to do Harry Potter, while I wish they'd do something grand and epic, they at least need to do something different from the other, because that Hogsmeade appears in 4 parks around the world exactly as it is. So I hope if they do Harry Potter, they do something different. But even outside of that, like if they're going to do Minions, do something different with Minions. Jurassic, do something different with Jurassic. But then, yes, if they get some original IP like Paddington and James Bond, which are very UK centric, if someone's coming over from somewhere else in the world, I think that's appealing. And it's also very appealing to the local population.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, there are a lot of Hogsmeades. I wonder if they could do like Diagon Alley or something, or maybe they can wait and they can make something. It could be a Hogsmeade again, but based on the new production design and stuff out of the series could make it kind of interesting. That would be a unique one.
It was interesting. One of you guys shared like an action figure you saw in a store or something the other day, and it said Legacy character, but not Hogwarts Legacy, obviously. And I thought that's what they're going to do, kind of like that's been done with other things like Star Wars Expanded Universe. Marvel has like certain things that are like, that's a legacy character. I wonder if they're now gonna be like, oh, this is the legacy Dumbledore. I think that'd be a good way to keep those things relevant and sellable while also trying to move us forward once we have new people and new beautiful things to think about.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. They're doing with Star Wars. I think Marvel's interesting because they do a very comic booky version of things like What's in Universal Islands of Adventure versus like the movie version of stuff. So they find ways to kind of honor both. So I'd be down for that. I just wish I could afford all the action figures and cool things that they sell. I saw on Facebook Marketplace here the other day, there was a person selling like just a whole bunch of Harry Potter memorabilia. And we're talking like 15 wands and like all the movies and all the, I don't know, all the little things that they've done over the years, board games. It was $1,000 for everything. And if you did it like broke it all out, it's a good deal. I just don't have $1,000. So not
or space to store it. That's my problem.
Yeah, it's where to put it.
Well, you can't just store it. You have to display it if you're going to have that stuff, right? So yeah.
I would have let you borrow $1,000 for Mitchell could put it in his Airbnb. By the new Universal.
Yeah, I'll have a little Harry Potter room there. It is, I mean, some of that stuff, yeah, I guess Facebook Marketplace would be a great place to get a cheap wand, an old quaffle, bludger.
Don't because play that with stuff is kind of old. People get mad when you do that.
Steven, I intentionally hadn't opened the quaffle, and you didn't just play with it, you ruined it.
You haven't seen it. How do you know it's ruined? You've been in England.
No, this was years ago. I still lived in the U.S. when you did this.
You've looked at it?
Yeah.
We'll go right now. I'll buy you a quaffle.
I don't know if they still sell them.
I laugh.
Every time you see what?
Go find one.
The quaffles. I laugh at you.
Just go buy your own quaffle next time, okay?
Isn't the quaffle going to look different this time? The book never mentioned that the quaffle had like these scoops out of it, and it was like concave and weird. So I wonder if they're going to have a different version.
It's easier to grab.
I mean, that is why they did it. It makes sense, but still.
Someone thought about this.
All right. I'm going to ask you 2 quick fire questions that I've seen in the Reddit today. First of all, what movie, what season are you most excited for? And you only get 30 seconds to think about it, respond all in one.
Wait, that's one question?
Yep. What season are you most excited for?
I'm most excited for 7.
Steven.
Yeah, I want to say 7, but book 3 is still, I think, my favorite book. And I think that there's just twists and stuff that were done so badly in the movies. I'd really like to see them done better and more fleshed out in the series. So I think I'm pretty excited for 3. It's also a lot closer than 7. So I feel like that's a better choice at the moment.
Now I feel like I should have said 4.
4 is my answer. I did consider 3. I think it'll be well served by TV. I think 5, even 6, obviously all the longer books, but like something about the rhythm of 5 actually might be a tough hang at the beginning. But no, 4 is my final answer. I've always said that 4 is a really good standalone story.
When you first read 4, it was pretty amazing.
And
there are
the
some
world
big
expands.
Plot holes
there's
in 4 that really bother. Like
they
it's
could
harder
fix
for me to watch it.
3 is just a plot hole. That's all it is.
Well,
it's a book. It is a plot hole.
If you buy into the time, travel piece and like think about how much it screws up the rest of the world, then it's great.
Can't think of another Harry Potter property that uses time travel to ridiculous amounts to ruin a world.
Oh, I'm going this weekend. I should have brought that up.
Oh, I'm very excited to hear your review.
It's fine. We flow better this way.
This is real. This is the real.
Just do it
and
now,
Jamie's an editing
and
wizard.
Then we can put it at the beginning.
I keep thinking with these bangs that I look like, Pam's landlady that Michael Scott goes on a date with.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, so
I do see it.
My midlife crisis. Okay, go on.
Hey, you got to try it out. You got to try things out. So we have a big Harry Potter event coming up in one of our lives. Jamie, you're going to go see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child at the Temple Buell Theater in Denver, Colorado. I might have made that up. Is the Ella Calkins Opera House? I don't know.
I think it's real. I don't know. I got to order my ticket.
Are your kids going? Are you excited? No. Tell us your thoughts.
My kids aren't going. My daughter is mad that I'm going without her, but she's only on book 4, and
it's quite long.
Yeah. My husband's just gonna I think what he's gonna do, because he just likes to annoy us, he's gonna overly pretend to like it because so much of it makes me mad. But I am excited to see. I'm excited to see it, Harry Potter, like in a different format and all the stage stuff, but the story's still gonna piss me off. This is my
As it should. You'll like moments, but you'll sit there at the end and be like, that wasn't really that character. But the magic, the music, the production, I think you'll overall come out thinking that's positive, but it's not canon. Yeah, they're moving to the one play version of it here. So I'll see that. Maybe not for a couple of years, but I'll see it at some point while I still live in London.
The 2 plays never going to exist again.
Someone will restage it at some point, right? But I'm glad I saw it twice. I'll always know it. All right. My quick fire question number 2 was, what is, and I'm sure we've talked about this before, but what is one non-negotiable in season 1? You're like, they cannot either alter this, screw this up. What is one moment in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Sorcerer's Stone that is not a negotiable for you, that if they do it wrong, you'll be fuming? You won't stop watching because you have to do the podcast, but you'll be angry.
Steven, you go first.
I think there's so much. I want all of the Quidditch, and I need the Quidditch to be like high quality and exciting. Like, I feel like it's not as exciting from the first book, and just that being part of the things Harry's really good at, because he's never been like good at anything. He's like downtrodden, and so like showing up and being like a jock all of a sudden is pretty cool. So I need the Quidditch to be on point.
I would say the conversation with Harry and Dumbledore at the mirror. I think it needs to be done really well, and it needs to possibly even plant more that's in the book. But for the rest of the series, I think a lot of things are going to come back to that kind of, but there's a lot of character development in that moment, and also like a lot of definition of who Harry is, who Dumbledore is, and also later on kind of about who Voldemort is, which will pay off at the end of that season, hopefully.
Mine is the conversation between Harry and Hagrid when Harry finds out he's a wizard, because he says it way too fast in the movie, and they have like this moment of glowing and the music crescendos, and that's okay, but it felt like I was artificially being told to be emotional about this moment, and I need it to actually deliver. I'm very curious about the pacing pre-Hogwarts. I will say I can't call that a non-negotiable because it's quite broad. There's not a particular thing I need, but I would really like them to do that right.
I need the hamburger shop. That's it.
I should go eat there. All right, let's get into our professors. Jamie, you're going to tell us about Quirrell. I feel like Steven went first on both of the quick fire questions, so I did want to make you go first on this one.
Well, I went first on the first one, but well.
Did you? Oh, do you want me to go first? I'll go first.
No,
I feel like
I'm
I
totally
talk
kidding.
a lot. So.
How do I say his first name?
Quirinus, I think.
Quirinus Quirrell?
There you go.
Okay, well, you just ruined my one pronunciation of it. Quirinus Quirrell. I feel like that's wrong. Maybe it's one of those names you gotta say with an accent. So Quirrell was a Ravenclaw, a half-blood. According to J.K. Rowling, he was the Muggle Studies professor before 1991, and then the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor from 1991 to 1992. Was that retcon to fix a little story plot point? We will assume so. He died June 4th, 1992. In the movies, he's portrayed by Ian Hart. He was considered a very intelligent wizard, and he was in Ravenclaw, obviously, as time in Hogwarts, like I said. He became fascinated with the dark arts and wanted to prove himself. During his year-long sabbatical traveling, he sought out information about the dark magic and eventually encountered the weakened Lord Voldemort in Albania. And so, obviously, we know that his ambition kind of took over and ended up with Voldemort possessing the back of his head, I guess. It's
sorted too early again. He his ambition
we need
taking hold
more on how that exactly happened.
Not everyone bad has to be in Slytherin. Bad people can be anywhere, okay? And good people can be in Slytherin.
Went bad, though. I wonder about that.
Yeah, Peter Pettigrew. So, in Harry's first year, he was very nervous and timid and had a stutter. We don't know if the stutter was real or not, or that just was he was hiding behind it. He attempted to steal the Philosopher's Stone for Voldemort, and then he released a troll in Hogwarts. He attempted to get past the Hogwarts protections to get to the Sorcerer's Stone. He broke into Gringotts, and then he was drinking unicorn blood for Voldemort. So he really turned from being like a Muggle studies teacher 1 year, half-blood. I need to know more about why he would turn so much. I guess just the power, just became fascinated with the dark arts, really.
Well, I wonder too, like how much of it was curiosity, and then once Voldemort is like literally attached to your head, like what does that do to your mind and like your ability to rationalize, like to think rationally and stuff?
Yeah.
So maybe he just kind of, because he was I guess not technically a Horcrux, but like he was just taken over by Voldemort.
That's
So at
what
what
I was
point did he
thinking.
actually not have free will anymore?
I mean, it's like having a parasite almost on you that changes you. It's a Star Trek episode like that. They try to kill everyone. Anyway, and then he tries to get the stone for Voldemort. But yeah, when he said that, Steve, I just thought in my brain, like, that moment where Voldemort's attaching himself to the back of your head. You're like, maybe I took this too far. I might have regrets. Oh, and my notes.
Too late now. All in.
I had written he was basically a living Horcrux. Look at us.
Nice.
We never learn his first name in the books. That's a little fun fact. Is that true?
Well, I looked up the pronunciation. It's Quirinus.
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 Never would have guessed.
It's like a full Q, rye as in Catcher in the Rye, nus as in the back half of anus.
That was some great pronunciation help there, mate.
Some weird little facts that have popped up about him that are from like various games and I don't know, a lot of different things. But his bug art was Voldemort. So his greatest fear was Voldemort, which was interesting. I already said he taught Muggle studies, and so he only did defense for 1 year. Defense against the dark arts job is cursed, and people only have it for 1 year. I think that was it, really. Besides, and then just in general, a big thing people talk about is how Harry can shake his hand at the beginning, but if he touches him at the end, he burns him. So a lot of people think that's a plot hole, but a lot of people just argue that Voldemort hadn't completely possessed him at that point, even though he's wearing the turban. I don't know. It's kind of like seeing the Thestrals, like the plot hole, like why Harry can't see the Thestrals before when he watched his parents die.
I wonder about Quirrell because he was supposed to be really young, right? Like he had just graduated and then he was gone for a little bit and came right back. So,
no, he was Muggle studies teacher at some point.
Well, but they made it sound like he was really young.
He took like a gap year,
Yeah, but during his gap years when he went and traveled and stumbled across Voldemort, right? So does that mean he did that before he was Muggle studies teacher and he had Voldemort on the back of his head for 2 years, or was it like that summer right before he took over as Defense of the Dark Arts is when he got Voldemort on his head?
That was interesting. The teachers must travel during the off season,
I mean, they gotta do something. They gotta get out of that castle sometime. But Hagrid specifically does say that he was fine while he was studying out of books, but then when he went out and traveled and stuff like that, he came back a little weird. So I wondered, did he always have the stutter? Did he wear a turban before? Or was that all like he came back from this trip like very different and everyone just kind of attributed it to his travels or something? So maybe that's
what it says in here is that before the school year 1990 to 1991, he was Muggle studies teacher, and then he took a year off and he came back the summer of 91, and that's when he was now wearing a turban. So I don't know.
Well, there you go. So that must have been when he went to Albania.
So
makes sense.
But that's not like in the books. It's all retcon.
Is the turban cultural appropriation?
Well, is he supposed to be of like different lineage than just like a white British dude? Like maybe a turban would not be that strange because it's part of his culture or something. If he's meant to be a character that, is of that ethnicity or something.
Feels like he took a gap year and got dreadlocks, but he went turban. It's mostly a joke. Okay. Should we move on to something even more boring than Professor Quirrell? Because it's the professor known for his boringness. Well, he's mysterious, as is this guy, because we just don't know that much. So I did Professor Cuthbert Binns. And when I see Cuthbert, all I think of is Alicia Cuthbert, who is in 24. Seasons 1, 2, and 3.
His name is Cuthbert,
wow.
They say.
Who is it? All right. Yeah. Well, here's Professor Cuthbert Binns. He was born, you ready for this, pre-1890. I don't think I knew he was that old, but also that's vague.
And he's
and
dead,
this is pre-1890
so
just because he's in Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, but at what point when you're teaching history of magic are you like, oh, this happened after I died?
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just funny how they fill out like his wiki page. Like his Harry Potter official page is very short because there is nothing about him. But on this, they like stretch things out and like make things sound like detailed, thought through facts when really it's just a silly statement. Like after he became a ghost, droning on about various goblin rebellions and giant wars to bored sleeping students. We don't know if that was always the case. The only time he ever spoke about something non-factual was during the 1991-1990 school year when he taught about the Chamber of Secrets. And then it like names how they learned about Uruk the Oddball and Emmerich the Evil. I'm just like, hey, whoever made this, more power to you. But yeah, we actually don't know much about him. He does appear in Hogwarts Legacy, so we know he was around then. I think that's why they put the birthday as pre-1890. This it says Cuthbert was born into the Binns family at some point prior to the 19th century, with, ready for this, Mr. Binns as his father. Why would you put that in there? It means we know nothing.
Shocker.
Oh, and
like
it says
AI.
This can't be right, but it says, it was said that his father always used to say something to him, but Cuthbert fell asleep in the middle of a sentence before he could say what it was. So now he's narcoleptic as well. Anyway,
it just cracks me up. Can you be narcoleptic as a ghost?
Well, maybe that's why he didn't think it was weird. He just fell asleep and died and then woke up and kept teaching because he would just fall asleep and then.
It's funny because it is like a book one. Like he doesn't really, they go to History of Magic like 2 or 3 more times in the whole book and they kind of refer to an exam for it, but like nothing actually happens with it because he's kind of a joke. Like it's kind of just a children's story, like a ghost who doesn't know he's dead.
Well, it's funny because they do mention Mathilda Bagshot in her book way more times than they do the actual teacher who teaches the class and who they like see regularly in school. But so that's kind of funny. But
also,
who knows?
He goes through the blackboard, so he must know he's dead. Yeah, they wrote this as if they know exactly when this happened in the staff room and how he got up. Anyway, he shows up in Hogwarts Legacy
at some point
where he has a little storyline. Look at this. It has a whole during the 1970s, Professor Binns taught James Potter, Lily Evans, Peter Pettigrew, Remus Lupin, and Sirius Black. Well, duh, they were there. We don't know that. And then there is some stuff from the video games that says that some other bits happen, but generally it's not much. I think we need to retcon a romance for Professor Binns, you know? But he was so boring, I don't think he could get laid. I don't know.
Well, I don't think he ever didn't know he was dead. I think he just didn't care.
Well, I thought they were like...
But maybe?
He didn't I thought they said we don't even know if he knows he's dead.
Oh, maybe that is.
This is funny. It is possible that Professor Binns continued his long tenure after the war. However, there was a visiting History of Magic professor. That's from one of the stupid mobile games that I refuse to acknowledge as canon as well, because they put some real random in there. Personality traits. He didn't display much of a personality. He would get people's names wrong, like calling Seamus Finnegan O'Flaherty, which is just kind of funny just to essentially stereotype him as an Irish person. Yeah, like it's such because there just is nothing about him, really. Like in the other books, it doesn't even talk about him. It just refers to times History of Magic is referred to. But he is going to be in the show, so maybe they'll clarify something. In Legacy, he's voiced by Jason Anthony and Richard Durden, who has one of those familiar that guy, old British guy faces that I'm like, I've seen you in something. And I looked up his IMDb and I'm like, yeah, I've seen some of this. In 2004, he was in something called Dunkirk, but it's not the Dunkirk. Anyway, it's just kind of a chuckle. He doesn't show up in any of the video games except for Harry Potter Lego on years 1 through 4 on Game Boy Advance only, and now Legacy. He's really been forgotten. In fact, in Chamber of Secrets, the video game, Professor McGonagall gives the information that he is supposed to give. He's really been looked over.
Well, in the movie, it's that way too, right? He's not in the movie, right?
That's true. He is referred to on Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, the ride, because Hermione talks about a boring lecture that they're going to pull us out of so that we can go on an adventure with them. But yeah, this is just not much going on for Cuthbert Binns. But I've always said I think History of Magic could be interesting, and there clearly is interesting history when it comes to like the Statute of Secrecy and all that. But All we learn about is Goblin Wars.
Because that's what was before him, I guess.
All right, Stephen, who did you choose? Well, I think I know who you chose, but who did you choose?
Stephen Flitwick.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Flitwick, who is the man. And it turns out that there's even more to him than what I knew. So Flitwick, he was born sometime in the 1950s, which I found interesting because our parents were born in the 1950s. So Flitwick could be your daddy. And he's very small. So it does say he was born October 17th, but no one knows the year. So he was obviously the charms professor. He was the head of Ravenclaw House. He was also a former dueling champion. So the man could kick some butt in the duels. And therefore, he was a key person in Battle of Hogwarts, because that's the only time we really see him dueling. But apparently, he was kicking some butt. He has distant goblin ancestry, which is really interesting to think about. Somebody at some point, did a thing with a goblin. And anyway, that's an interesting thing to have. Obviously, he went to Hogwarts, which is, and he was in Ravenclaw. At some points in the information says that he was sort of in a Gryffindor. So there's some questions about that. But if he's the head of Ravenclaw, you can't be a Gryffindor as a student and then lead Ravenclaw, right? So he's a Ravenclaw. He was obviously very intelligent. He was in Ravenclaw. He excelled academically. He earned a reputation and later would become a championship level dueler. So I don't know if that's like worldwide, nationwide, or whatever, but he was really freaking good at that. So you don't want to tick him off. Hermione specifically references that he's a champion in Chamber of Secrets. And we also know that he really liked Hermione. She was one of his favorites because she was so good at charms and very enthusiastic about charms. So he's always taught charms. There's no record of him teaching anything else. He was not always the head of Ravenclaw House, but he has been for quite some time. He's known for being very fair and patient and encouraging everyone to experiment in magic. So he's not one of those who picks favorites depending on who's in his house and stuff like that. He obviously shows up in Sorcerer's Stone first. And the first charm we know he teaches the kids is Wingardium Leviosa. So we get the swish and flick from Flitwick, which is a nice little
see what you did there.
And we know that he's small, so he stands on a stack of books in order to see over the table and talk to the students and stuff. And he falls off the stack of books when he sees Harry's name on the rolls because he was so surprised, which is weird because you figure they would have known ahead of time he was coming. But anyway, maybe he just didn't realize it was that day. And so he was surprised. Something interesting when it comes to the movies is that he looks completely different in the first and second movie as compared to the third movie, to the point where a lot of people think that they recast the character, but they did not. It's the same character. They just changed his appearance a lot. And I guess in the earlier movies, he looks like he had a lot of prosthetics and stuff. So maybe it was just a lot easier to put a mustache and whatever that wig is on him and roll.
He got a glow up. He went on Queer Eye.
Well, he's really not supposed to be that
sad
old.
The show's
then.
over. Yeah, if he's born in the 50s, he's only in his 40s when Harry's there. Early 40s. Mid?
Yeah, he would have been.
When.
So he looks old, though. Maybe that's the goblin ancestry makes him wrinkly, or something. So he's old in that sense. He's very keen doing things around the castle. So when Sirius Black, they worry about him breaking into the castle, he helps out security. He does that again later on in Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince. And of course, he helps to defend the castle during the Battle of Hogwarts. He also, at least in the movies, he leads the Hogwarts choir, the student choir. Mm-hmm. And that's all we really know about that. I don't know how musical he really is. He must be musical enough to lead a choir, right? I wonder if he sings. I wonder how beautiful his singing voice is. Maybe we'll find out in the series. He is close with his co-workers, so he, McGonagall, Sprout are pretty tight. Slughorn kind of wiggles his way into that friend group as well later on, apparently. And he personally fights a lot of Death Eaters. He defeats Antonin Dolohov in the Battle of Hogwarts, is one that we know about. And after the war, he keeps teaching at Hogwarts. So he stays the head of Ravenclaw House, and he keeps educating the next generation of witches and wizards because it's very important to him. He is a very trusted teacher. So you've got different professors like Trelawney, who's a little loopy and they don't really give much important stuff to, and Hagrid, who might not be super reliable. but he was one of the good ones. So he was tasked with a lot of really important things, including the choir, for example, and security. Those are on the same level. In the movies, he's, of course, portrayed by Warwick Davis through all of the films, though he doesn't appear in every single film. I'm trying to remember which ones he's in. That's listed somewhere. I'll have to pull that up. He shows up in video games, but really he is a source of like new spells for the characters, the players, and just some small bit parts and everything. So Warwick Davis, he is the only one we know of so far who is returning to play the same character from the movies. He is going to be playing Flitwick again in the television series, which is going to be very interesting. And even just coming back to the same character, but he's the only returning cast member, period, right, that we know of. So that's cool. I wonder what kind of, I don't know, what he'll bring from that first
Some
iteration.
Guy who played Sir Cadogan in The Portrait is Filch now, I think.
Oh, yeah. But then he didn't actually appear in the movie. His scenes got cut.
And we know from the little documentary that there are a whole bunch of people whose, cousins, brothers, aunts also worked on the films, and now they get to do the series, which are some cool connections.
Some of the actual people. Same. But didn't he have a relationship with Sprout when we did Sprout? We learned that.
Say that again?
A little relation. Him and Sprout had a relationship for a little bit.
Oh, did they? I didn't. That did not come up in my research, but
we learned that when we learned about Sprout.
Hey, you got limited options working at Hogwarts. You're busy. You can't just find someone in the summer.
It ended on good terms, and they stayed friends.
I mean,
besties.
It says here that they were pretty tight with McGonagall, so they were still a group of friends, even though they were let's not go there. But
I thought you were gonna go.
I always find it interesting that the teachers live at Hogwarts, because like you said, limited options for everything. Like, I guess you can apparate wherever you want to go in an instant, so that may be a little bit better. But none of them have families and commute to work every day. Like that.
I feel like this is kind of addressed, that some just walk to the edge of the grounds and then apparate and go home and treat it like a day job. They could even go home for lunch with apparition. So maybe some of them do have regular lives. It feels all encompassing to be at Hogwarts.
Yeah. Well, you get certain ones where they reference their office, but it sounds almost like it's also their apartment or quarters of some sort. And if it's not, then where do they live? Because Slughorn, for example, has the party in his office, right? But it's big enough to have a freaking Christmas party with a whole bunch of people. So it can't just be an office with a desk in it.
He did want that office specifically. Remember, that was one of his requests when he started. And he could have used a magical extension charm.
You guys need to play Legacy. This is all I've got to say about this.
I am poor and have 3 children. What do you expect?
You can borrow mine. You have 1 child and he's a baby.
Yeah.
Some news to share, Mitchell? Is something?
Twins
on the way.
I'd go bankrupt.
Fred and George.
Look, I will say, Warwick Davis obviously has dominated the fantasy genre, and he's in every Star Wars film in some way or another. But he's also stayed really involved in the Wizarding World. He shows up to a lot of the things that are happening at the studio tour, the theme parks, or he'll be on all the TV shows. I'm sure he did that baking show and stuff. So great character, great actor. 3 great professors we've really touched upon here. That sounds inappropriate, but it made sense in context. But look, we're going to be back in 2 weeks with one of our better deep dives we've ever done. Well-researched, very exciting, edge of your seat. Get ready for it. We'll tease it on social media where you can find us at HPTVPod on social media, hptvpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to email us, because email is the new mail. Did you guys have any final Potter thoughts? Obviously, we'll be back, hopefully, with some news information, but it's silent right now. I think production's wrapped. I think we're looking at now the marketing is going to begin. We are a mere 6 months away from actually seeing this episode.
I think we're experiencing a little bit of a lull until we get to Harry's birthday, and then you'll have obviously, the day September 1st, they're off to Hogwarts and stuff. So I think during the summer right now, it's going to be a little quiet. Which is, understandable.
We might hear some Chambers stuff, for sure.
Yeah, we've got to get some little casting going on. All right. Exciting things on the way on HPTV. Thanks for joining us once again. Jamie, please send us out.
Peace out, snitches.